then police there encountered the gunman or someone with a gun and exchanged gunfire. Can you just go over that one more time, please?
Hi, Ken. Good morning. Police Chief Mark Bruley, Brooklyn Park Police Department. The question is, well, how did we get to Representative Portman's house, and it was proactively or not? The circumstances that unfolded in Brooklyn Park this morning is that we assisted the Champlin Police Department on a shooting. That shooting was made aware by one of our sergeants that it was at Senator Hoffman's home. In hearing that very intuitive sergeant asked our officers to go check on Melissa Hortman's home, the representative that lives in our community, just proactively as due diligence to swing by. That police officer and his partner pulled down the street. When they arrived at Melissa's house, they noticed that there was a police vehicle in the driveway with the lights, emergency lights on, and what appeared to be a police officer at the door coming out of the house. When our officer
Good morning, everyone. You are watching a special edition of Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. It is 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning, Flag Day on this June 14th. I'm Jane Monroe for this special edition. Want to let you know now, if you haven't heard on our stream here on WCNC Plus, we do have some breaking news. Lawmaker out of Minnesota shot and killed, as well as another lawmaker, Melissa Hortman, a representative out there, as well as her husband, killed this morning in what authorities are saying is a targeted shooting, shot early this morning at their home, along with that shooting is Senator John Hoffman. He was also shot. We do understand he is injured and dealing with some injuries as well. So we are keeping tabs on this breaking news situation. Again, out of Minnesota, 2 lawmakers where authorities say were involved in a targeted shooting at their homes this morning. One lawmaker shot along with her husband, that's Representative Hortman, Melissa Hortman, and her husband. The other, Senator John Hoffman, is injured, but he was involved in a shooting, was shot, and authorities are now involved in a manhunt looking for the shooter, who they say posed as a law enforcement officer, showing up to their homes. More to come on that breaking news. In the meantime, we are coming to you here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus because a number of protests, thousands of protests, up to 1,800 across the country planned on this Flag Day, President Trump's birthday, with a military parade planned in Washington, D.C. for later this evening. In the meantime, a lot of folks are protesting ICE and demonstrations and raids, as we've seen last weekend in L.A., across the country, more than a dozen in the Charlotte metro area, including Union County and Waxhaw. One already started and is underway, and that's why we go to our Jesse Pierre, who is live right now, covering the action there. Jesse, what's the latest?
Yes, we're here in Waxhaw in the downtown area, and there's been hundreds of people here. This one started at about 9 o'clock, and you can see folks with their signs. The big reason they're here is, again, they're not happy with the way the current administration is running. A lot of folks are telling me because of an overreach of power. Again, I have a lot of supporters here. They've been chanting. I've been hearing chants like, no love, love, not hate, makes America great. You see a lot of great signs, no king since 1776. This is what democracy looks like. They're really empowered by the amount of people coming together to, again, show up for these No King protests. I have Jamie over here. Why was it important for you to be here, bring your daughter, and support this No Kings protest?
Hi, good morning. What matters to me is just that people are treated with dignity and that they get their chance to have due process and just treated right. Even if they do have to go to court or something, that it is not inhumane and that people are treated with decency and dignity. And I'm not seeing that lately. So thank you.
And you have your daughter here as well. Tell me a little bit about your son and why it was important for you to be here.
It was important for me to be here because I really care about justice a lot. And the sign, since I'm a student, I thought I'd pick something that a lot of people know. So I picked this phrase from the Pledge of Allegiance, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I appreciate that. There's been, again, a lot of support here. Probably about 1,000 people came out to this protest here in Waxhaw. But again, we'll be going through a couple of different places, Monroe next, and then in Rock Hill. So a lot of demonstrations going on from city to city to city across the country. Sending it back to you, Jane.
All right, thank you so much, Jesse, for that live report. It looks like so far things are quite civil and respectful there in Waxhaw. As you said, yeah, that's great to see. And as you said and mentioned, there are a number of these protests planned really across the country and in the Charlotte area. Of course, Charlotte in the heart of things right there in Uptown. And we want to go now to Tradisha Woodard. She has the very latest from the scene there in Uptown. Hi, Tradisha. How's it looking up there?
Good morning, Jane. Things are pretty much starting to pick up here as of right now. Lots of folks coming out here, crowds of people continuing to swarm in. I'm going to step out of the camera so Ben can give you guys a better perspective of what we're seeing here. Now, in just a few minutes, demonstrators are expected to fill the streets of Uptown with signs and chants and a clear message, with many folks saying, "We don't do kings here." Now, this protest, as you mentioned, Jane, just part of a national wave of resistance that falls under the Trump administration. Many of them pushing back against things like immigration, abortion rights, and equality. And coming up here, you're going to hear from a lot of families as well as many folks who are planning to take it to the streets. But as of right now, I'm going to toss it back to you, Jane.
All right, we'll check in with you a little bit later, Tradish, as you gather and meet with people who are involved with that. It looks like things are about to get underway right around First Ward Park. Thanks for that live report here on Live Impact News. And we can start to hear them chanting there in Uptown. All right, from here we're going to shift now up to the northern part of our viewing area. In Iredell County, we have our Bria Smith covering things, and it looks like activity is picking up there. Bria, you are in Statesville. How's it doing? How are you looking up there?
Yes, Jane, that's right. Well, things have just begun here in downtown Statesville, and as you can see, there are several people here formed with their signs. Now they are expecting more than 100 people who are going to have the chance to voice their concerns about things like growing authoritarianism, economic inequality, and political corruption, just to name a few. But Jane, I did have the chance to speak with one man who says he hopes events like this can serve as a platform for justice, and in a minute we will have the chance to speak to more people about how they're feeling and what they hope for. But for now, reporting live in Statesville, Bria Smith, WCNC Charlotte.
All right, thank you so much, Bria, for that report and a look at Statesville as folks are beginning to gather and start their demonstration with those signs. Thanks for that live update. So far, so peaceful right now across the Charlotte Metro from our three crews covering things out in the field. Again, like everyone has mentioned, we have our crews out covering from Union County, Charlotte, as well up to the north, Iredell County, Statesville, Mooresville. We do know demonstrations will be taking place in Monroe as well as Rock Hill later this afternoon. Let's go back to Uptown Charlotte. Looks like someone's getting up to the mic as they are getting ready to get things started here from First Ward Park, and listen in here live on Live Impact News on WCNC+.
Reason to be here, and that is we have courage. And courage is courageous. Courage is contagious. Courage is revolutionary. You are not alone. Look around you. Look to your neighbor. Let them know you are not alone. Go ahead, tell your neighbor, you are not alone. And it's not just here. There are 2,000 protests across this country today. In every state. You are the powerful American majority. We will not be silenced. We will not be ruled. We are not intimidated. The Trump regime is not our new normal.
All right, you are listening live right now to the beginning of the No Kings protest against ICE in First Ward Park. And you can see from our drone here on WCNC Plus, this drone shot live right now over First Ward Park, that gathering where it looks like hundreds, if not a couple of thousand people now gathered. They are going to march from here through Uptown and make just kind of a big circle around Uptown and back to First Ward Park. But as you can see, hundreds of people there gathered for this morning's No Kings protest beginning at 11 o'clock. So just getting underway here, and it is scheduled to go until 1 o'clock this afternoon. It is one of more than a dozen of such events happening around the Charlotte metro area. This is just part of the more than 1,400 nationwide rallies calling out the Trump administration on what today is. It is President Trump's birthday. It is Flag Day. There is a military parade and celebration planned for Washington, D.C., and our nation's capital, where the president will appear also for the 250th birthday of the Army. But here you can see that Charlotte area citizens gathering around now, saying that we don't do kings here, as they have said since President Trump has taken over the administration, that this is not authoritarianism, and this is what they're saying is part of their stronghold, holding a naked emperor rally and march beginning again at First Ward Park. She's still at the microphone. This is still in Charlotte, so we're going to go ahead and listen in here as you're taking a live look. Again, top right is First Ward Park in Uptown, and then the protest happening in Statesville as they are beginning to gather in Iredell County. You're watching Live Impact News here on WCNC Plus at 11:11.
Pre-made signs, flags, and fruit. They are all along this area. Fruit and snacks are in the middle with the water. Bottled water is also available during the march. It's going to be at different points on the corners, so know that you can get bottled water while you're walking. There is a medic station to my left at the bathroom, at the brick bathroom building. If you need a medic, that is where you'll need to go. We believe in safety. We have many marshals here to help us with that. If you see someone in a pink vest, they are a marshal, and they are here to help. So if you have questions, yay for our marshals! So if you have concerns, you need to report something, you need some help, find a marshal, they will help you. Related to safety, Indivisible and our partner organizations are all committed to nonviolent protesting and de-escalation at all times. If you should see some counter-protesters, do not engage, do not respond. Do not let them bait you, ignore and move on. That sounded a little bit like Dr. Seuss. So the agenda for today, we have some really great speakers here that are going to talk to you about impacts from this administration. And then after we have some speakers, we're going to have a spoken word, some more speakers, and then we will march. The parade starts here and ends here, just an FYI. And at this point, I would like to introduce you to our MC for the day, Kaya Allen. What's up, Patriots? You ready to get this party started?
Well, Trump's is celebrating his birthday in Washington, D.C. I'm hoping for rain. $45 million, that's a year's worth of a federal employee beautiful comedy here in Charlotte. I am also an advocate for Stop Cop City, Charlotte. If you don't know already, there's a Cop City. If you want to abolish us, if you want to abolish DHS being in our communities, start with that project. Today we are here to mock a man who wants to be an emperor. Is he an emperor? No! Is he a king? No! Damn right. We are here to mock a man who rose to power on the backs of the angry and the illiterate. This is a man who he cares about poor people the way vampires care about their blood supply. Okay? He is not an advocate for the working class. He is not an advocate for the poor. Who is an advocate for the working class and the poor? Us, the community. We are here to mock a man who has redefined leadership by tweeting from a toilet in all caps. Okay? This is not normal. It's not, guys. You may know him as the president, but I know him as a cautionary tale for pulling out. He is passing executive orders like he's playing Uno with the 4 horses of the apocalypse. Okay? Every day is a fresh new hell, all right? And you guys are the ones out here making sure that that does not trickle into our communities. You are the ones making sure that our neighbors, friends, our family are protected, not this a-hole in the White House. Not the clown car of representatives that he has decided were more qualified than the tons and tons of people that he fired to replace them. Not Puppy Popper Gnome, not Whiskey Leaks Pete Hegseth, and not that slithering slime ball Stephen Miller. Listen, I wanted to keep Stephen Miller out of the White House, but he doesn't use doors, he just slithers under them, okay? As soon as he got into the White House, he said, no more printers, we're writing everything in blood, okay? What a freaking nightmare. He does look like Nosferatu. The difference is Nosferatu can keep his wife, okay? Listen, she saw Elon's rockets, she said, I gotta give me some of that. What a douche. Okay. This is a admin filled with hypocrites. This is an admin who they have married immigrants. They are immigrants. What are we talking about here? All of them have benefited from it, and they are using their power to disenfranchise the people that they don't care about, which is us. Are we gonna let that happen? No! No kings!
No kings!
No crowns!
No crowns!
No thrones!
No thrones!
Fuck yeah, dude. Sorry, I wasn't supposed to curse. Speaking of which, oh, the ambulance is here, everything's fine, totally chill. Okay. Speaking of which, where is Melania? She has vanished faster than the last $40 in my bank account. Somewhere there's a Slovenian passport vibrating with the last essence of her soul. Okay? Oh my gosh, I feel like we lost our country in the worst custody battle imaginable. Ugh, my notes. Anyone gotten their Doge check? We knew we weren't gonna get that thing. All of that money is going into the top 1%, all right? All of that money, from the tariffs, from the tax breaks, all of it is going into the people that want to suck us dry and have been sucking us dry for decades. And this MAGA insurgency will have us out here trying to pretend that it's the person who's doing the lawn. It's the person who is taking care of you at the hospital. It's everyone else, but who it actually is, it's corporations, right? Yeah. Good. We had our first messy breakup of Pride Month, Elon and Trump. Listen, this is what happens when you fill an admin with daddy issues, okay? It's gonna boil over. We're gonna have narcissists at each other's throats. They really thought that they were eating when he was like, I'll cancel your contracts, Elon. Cancel them! I want them gone! Cancel the contracts! And while we're at it, release the Epstein files. We know exactly what you are. You're a pervert and you're a con. And worse, you are out here representing all of these good American people on a world stage, and we will not have it. No kings!
No kings!
No thrones!
No thrones!
No crowns!
No crowns!
Now, before I introduce our next speakers, I just want a quick refresher of our First Amendment. Brought my handy-dandy Constitution. This admin likes to forget that this is a paper document that we can get to. And our president has used full use of this First Amendment, but wants to restrict our ability to use it. All right. Congress, not the king, not the God Emperor, not the president, shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. That means stop doing your Muslim bans. That means when you have Paula Bride praying over you as the next Messiah, that's gross, okay? Or abridging the freedom of speech, like every time he called vets suckers and losers. Every time Every time he called a woman reporter stupid for a question. Every time he mocked anyone who bothered to give him a
All right, we obviously lost that feed here for a moment, folks. So we are taking in this feed raw, unfiltered, unedited, obviously. So we put that caution note up there that some of the speeches might involve some questionable and vulgar language. So that's something to be aware of as you are watching here on WCNC Plus. We are just monitoring what is happening around the Charlotte metro area. There are a number of these protests, these rallies saying no kings. That is the theme here. And it looks like we can go back to that feed in Uptown as the No Kings rally starting here at 11 o'clock. We are covering as much as we can across the Charlotte metro with these protests and events, not to just say it is against ICE. I just want to clarify, but organizers saying it is the much bigger picture of this. It is really outrage against the way deportations are being handled in the country, but overall fighting for democracy and what they say the Trump administration stands for. So again, let's go ahead and try to listen in here live now from the Uptown rally at First Ward Park on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Right as well when you did that. So don't come for us when we're out here talking that shit. And finally, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Those 60 court cases you tried to file when you thought you had won the 2020 election, that's your opportunity for grievances and redress with the government, and you failed each one, you dumbass. All right, guys. Okay, sorry. We're going to introduce, before we introduce our next speaker, let's just go over the reasons why we're here. I think we pretty much covered it. He is using our tax dollars for his party. The tax dollars, boo! Boo this man! He's using our tax dollars to reformat the White House. He's using our tax dollars to of time. We are united against kings. They have gone too far. This is bigger than political disagreement. They have divided our courts, deported American citizens, disappeared people off the streets, and slashed our services, all while orchestrating a massive giveaway to their billionaire allies. Enough is enough.
We're going to break away from the speech on stage right now out of Uptown as our Bria Smith is talking to one of the demonstrators up in Statesville. Let's go ahead and listen in here live on WCNC Plus and Live Impact News.
Said, let's do it in Statesville. We need to do it in our hometown.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, like you said, there's something you probably would rather be doing or could be doing. But despite those challenges, why is it so important that you made sure to create an event like this to have everyone here?
To see and be seen. We really want our members of Congress to see us. We write letters, we call them, and we get boilerplate back. We get boilerplate letters just repeating junk. And so we want them to know that there are people that they're not representing necessarily in our gerrymandered district and in our red state. Here in little Statesville, this is just a sampling of the people that care about the country and want to defend our freedoms.
Absolutely. I spoke to a man earlier who said he pretty much hopes that this event can serve as a platform for pretty much what you also just said, which is that your voice be heard, that you guys be seen. Yeah. What does that mean that there are
and to see each other? We want to see each other. It's so comforting to someone who thinks they're alone and they're sitting there in their little social media bubble and they say, oh my gosh, there are other people who live people that I can talk to, and so we're trying to bring back community as well.
Absolutely.
Around this.
So speaking of community, there's so many. There's so many different signs with different sayings, different even viewpoints.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you that there are able to be that, even despite those differences, it's still peaceful, that people are still able to come together and share what they believe at the end of the day?
Yeah, well, we all believe in the Constitution. We love our system of government, and we don't want to see it dismantled. You know, we want to keep things not the way they are. We want to improve, and we want to have a more progressive agenda that pulls in more people and serves the people, not the wealthy. I mean, really, it's about a shift in power that's happening right now, with both the money going to the top and away from the bottom, and just power in general. And the people really have the power, and we need to show them that.
Absolutely. Very lastly, what do you hope can come from this event? Obviously, they're happening throughout our region, and so we're pretty much seeing it all over today. But what do you hope can come from this event today?
Meeting other people who would like to lead, because it's decentralized. There are no leaders. This is all over the country, very decentralized. And I'd like someone to take my place so I can go back and bake bread.
A great way to spend a Saturday, for sure. Well,
Wrapping up that live interview right now with our Bria Smith in Statesville with one of the protesters for the No Kings rally up in Iredell County. Get you back out to the rally happening in Uptown at First Ward Park. That is underway here. Looks like we have a new speaker on stage. Let's listen in live on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Food insecure, we have to remind these people that we have no kings. Because who the hell are you working for? If making sure people can't eat, if making sure people can't access their doctor isn't a priority for you, what are you doing other than serving somebody other than yourself, or just serving yourself in the first place? Focusing on North Carolina, when we have a state that is already seeing a surge in gun violence, a city that is already seeing a surge in gun violence, and yet our legislature is passing bills to make it easier to get more guns because our legislative leadership, boom, for sure. Let them know, because they don't listen to us in the building, trust me, we've tried our best, but let them know that that is not what we want here. When we have more than a handful of problems to solve, and our legislature says, you know what, let's blame immigrants for everything. It's time to remind them. Yeah, boo, because I know it's not at me, it's at the folks up in Raleigh, trust me, I'm okay with it. We have to stand up every single day to remind them that we have bigger problems than these messages that they want to push. than this divide and conquer tactic that they have been putting into use for the past several years to make us otherize anybody else. The problems that we face today, it was said earlier, they're caused by corporations. They're caused by Republican policies that place profits over people, that place self-preservation over democracy. When our legislature gets to handpick their voters, that's Speaker Hall and Senate Leader Pro Tem, Phil Berger, acting like kings. And again, they like to act like that, but we're here today to remind them that, again, we have no kings. We have no kings. Unlike a lot of politicians, I believe in being brief, so I do not expect to be up here long. I just want to say thank you for being out here this morning. Thank you for not only sharing some of your Saturday morning with us, but for showing the rest of this state, the rest of this country, and the additional 2,000 protests going on across this country that this is what democracy looks like. That we will show up every weekend to fight for democracy, even if it means spending a Saturday morning outside in the warm weather when we could be doing something else, but we'd rather be here because this country is important to us. Our democracy is important to us. So we show up and we show out, and thank you, because we in America have no. Damn straight. Thank you all.
Keep it going for Jordan, everybody! It is so important to have a representative that actually has the thoughts and wishes of their constituents in mind. We are out here, we consent every day. We are in America to be governed. And if you can't do what you're supposed to as a legislator, you get voted out. That is how this country works. The only silver lining to this whole debacle is I think all of us are a bit more aware of who our representatives are and what they're voting on. I cannot wait for the midterms. All right, next up, we have a veteran and teacher. Wes Fryer is a U.S. Air Force veteran, a 30-year educator, and a current middle school classroom teacher here.
All right, as you're watching here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, we are covering the Charlotte metro area's over a dozen No Kings protests and rallies around the area. That was House Democratic Representative Jordan Lopez from Mecklenburg County, just speaking there in Uptown. We're going to switch gears now to Statesville. Our Bria Smith taking in a live interview with yet another protester and demonstrator. Let's listen and hear live on WCNC Plus.
You are supporting, emphasizing that need for. Well, teachers in North Carolina are not paid very well, and there is a shortage of special education teachers, especially in this state. And there are people who will lose resources in the public school system, such as speech therapy, behavioral therapy, and occupational therapy, if these rights are not maintained. The right to a public education for everyone was not enacted in this state until 2009. So we have a lot to protect here, that we do not need the dismantling of the Department of Education.
Absolutely. And if we were just to entertain the idea of what that might look like, the dismantling, right? Talk about how you can, assume or presume that would impact those who heavily depend on the public education system.
Yes. Well, there are so many people, special needs services such as speech therapy and occupational therapy. A lot of insurances do not cover those services, and people who can afford them are still paying thousands of dollars out of pocket. So those who are living in the poverty level, definitely their children are going to miss out on early intervention services, which could help their child succeed in the future. These are our future citizens of this state and this country. So I fully support the public right to education for everyone.
And very lastly, I know everyone has a different sign and might be here for a different reason, but all for the betterment. Talk about what you hope people can take away from not only the entirety of this event here today, but also your sign and what you stand for?
Well, I think they are expressing their First Amendment right to free speech on both sides, and that's a great thing. And police are here to, we did get a permit to do this, and I was invited to participate. So I hope that as you see a lot of people driving by, hopefully it's going to raise awareness of the problems that are happening in this country and what they can actually do about what they feel is a problem in this country, which is there's supporting their right to freedom of speech. So
It's been a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that was Arbria Smith talking to yet another woman participating in the protests and No Kings rally up in Statesville in Iredell County, and letting you know from No Kings, the organization, because of breaking news, what authorities are calling a politically motivated shooting of 2 elected officials in Minneapolis. The No Kings event in Northeast Minneapolis has been canceled. They are looking for this active shooter, so there's a shelter-in-place order for that area. Wanted to update you on that here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Again, a rally taking place in Charlotte, as you can see from our aerial crew, our aerial shot, the drone picture of First Ward Park. Thousands of people gathered there for today's No Kings event, and what they're saying really is just putting up their own statement up against the Trump administration, saying that on today, Flag Day, President Trump's birthday, as they're planning a military parade and celebration at our nation's capital later on this afternoon. Folks around the country with over 1,400 of these No Kings events that they're saying that there are no kings, there are no emperors, and what they are saying that the Trump administration is. So let's go back now to Uptown. We'll listen in here live. It looks like we have another speaker on stage at the Charlotte event for No Kings on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Nationalism were foundational values. And because in the United States, the power still belongs to us. So I'll close with a quick story. Last week, my wife and I were up near Cherokee, North Carolina. Who's from Western North Carolina? Anybody come from Western North Carolina? What a beautiful part of our state. Still recovering from Helene, but as beautiful as I could have ever imagined, okay? And I wanted to cook shrimp and grits our last night there, and I forgot to bring some flour. So I took my measuring cup, and I went to some nearby campsites. And I ended up meeting 3 different groups who I'd never met before. And each one of those sets of campers, those families, greeted me and welcomed me with warmth and kindness. And I found the flour that I needed for my recipe. But I was also reminded of something. And that is that this country is full of good people. Our country is full of people just like you who care about the values of our nation. And so I want to thank you for being here. This rally, this march, this is what civic duty looks like. This is what love of country looks like. So I've already kind of told you my conclusion. I want to encourage you after today to not stop. Go tell your story. Find out the story of your neighbors. Meet your neighbors. Connect with them. Invite them to break bread together. Because we have so much more in common than we have that separate us as Americans. Go on TikTok, go on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Share your voice. Let's resist with media. Talk about what brought you here, what you're standing for, what kind of future you believe in. And if you want to use a hashtag, you can hashtag No Kings, but who are we here, Charlotte? We're CLT, right? Yeah. No Kings CLT, baby. Tag it. No Kings CLT. story. We are citizens of a multiracial, pluralistic, and democratic republic, and we must never forget that democracy isn't inherited, it's built together, and that's what we're doing today. So thank you for standing here with me. Let's keep resisting, let's keep building, and let's keep believing in the better future we know is possible, and we will build together.
All right, we're gonna keep it moving along. This guy's straw hat is about to melt right off his head. Next up, we have Jen Mangrum. She is the organizing director of North Carolina's American Federation of Teachers. She has more than 35 years in K-12 public school and university classrooms and is a champion for public education. Give her a round of applause, everybody. Great. As you know, Project 2025 is alive and living through the Trump regime. This authoritarian has gone step by step, destroying our rights and our democracy. And in our public education realm, and his regime has done the following. They have censored critical discussions. They've whitewashed history. They've banned books. They've violated the civil rights of our students. He is dismantling the Department of Education and intentionally defunding public schools. I think I love y'all. And instead, he is budgeting billions of dollars for vouchers, which are welfare for the wealthy.
All right, we will break away again from the speaker here in Charlotte and go back up to Statesville. Now a young person is sharing their thoughts and why they're participating with our Bria Smith. This is live, and you're watching Live Impact News on WCNC+.
INSON. Perfect. Well, Chase, I couldn't help but see your sign here, and also notice that you're pretty young. So talk to me about your sign, and what does it mean for you to be out here today?
We're so proud to live in the city of Statesville, where we can peacefully protest the decisions that are made by our administration, right?
Yeah.
What do we believe in?
Peace and love.
Absolutely. Did you make this sign? Did you work on it?
No, I found it over there.
Okay. Well, are you happy to be here?
Yes.
Kind of talk about the environment, things like that.
So, do you remember why we're here? Look at her.
To go against what Trump is doing.
What does it mean for you to be here with your son, obviously? How old are you?
10.
10 years old. We've got a
7 and a 5 also.
So how important is it for you all to bring, your children here at a young age to really get them to understand what's going on?
Yeah, so it's incredibly important to show them the power of democracy. It is our right in the United States of America to protest when we don't believe that the administration is taking into account all of the other people. It's not about the rich, it's not about those who own the world, right? It's about all of us. And it's incredibly amazing to see how many people from the city of Statesville have come out in solidarity with immigrants, with everybody really who's been affected by all of their decisions.
Absolutely, and I was just speaking with the event organizer who said she's just grateful that this was all, able to come together. But you think about it, it's really eye-opening to see kids that are younger. So what is it, something that they're our future. So what is something that you hope they kind of take away from this, at a younger age?
Yeah, so it's really, really important to show them that we can peacefully disagree with other people. You've got some counter-protesters running by, flicking our kids off, right? But how do we respond, baby?
With kindness.
With kindness, right? We don't fight. It's not about a fight. It's about all of us coming together as one community.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you might want to mention about just being here today and overall what you hope people can just take away from a day like today?
A day like today, really, again, it's look at how many people feel the way that we feel, but are not being violent about it. We're not throwing rocks. We're not screaming at each other, because that's not what this is about. It's about unity and standing up for what we believe in.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. A pleasure to meet you both.
Thank you.
All right, they're in Statesville, live here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Mom, obviously, with her 10-year-old son, speaking to our Bria Smith and sharing their thoughts. Organizers have said, as we've been coming up on this day, that these events, these protests, these No Kings protests around the nation are meant to be family friendly, and that children are welcome to these events. But we are putting that cautionary wording up there on your screen for Live Impact News that because this video is coming through our system here live and unedited, that there might be some vulgar language shared from some of the presenters. So with that, we'll get you back up to Uptown with that rally underway at First Ward Park here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
For her own. You see, at their very core, that's who teachers are. That's who teacher assistants are. That's who school counselors and social workers and bus drivers and after-school caregivers, etc. Every single person who works in public schools does that. They are our heroes in our community, and because of my experience, I am compelled to help unionize teachers, empower them through the American Federation of Teachers. We cannot continue down this anti-public school path. But I'm not just against the regime, I'm also for things, right? Yeah. Public education, we want and deserve a great teacher in every classroom, in every school. We must pay our teachers at least the national average. We must pay our bus drivers, cafeteria workers, assistants, and all who work for schools wages that are commensurate with the important work that they do for all of North Carolina's children. We also want our schools to have equal access to courses, to their facilities, and to the programs they offer. We want our General Assembly to abide by the ruling of the Leandro case and ensure that a child's school experience doesn't differ because of their zip code. We want our local schools and our professional educators to decide what we teach in the classroom and how it's presented. Teachers know that these scripted lessons they're given, the ridiculous number of assessments given to our children, and the tech devices they're forced on for hours are made by the decisions of the General Assembly and aren't what's good for our kids. Our children should never be used to lure in dark money or to bring in large corporate and personal donations. Y'all, we can change this. Democrative is a collective project. And as a former teacher and professor, I'm giving us an assignment. Let's elect pro-public education candidates in 2026. How will you know if they're pro-public education? Well, once they say the word voucher, scratch it. Vouchers are a gimmick to defund public schools even worse than they are. Folks, we must protect our kids. Protect our kids and their future. Keep on rallying like this in community. Keep organizing. The Trump regime, they want to divide us. Our call to action is to stand up together for democracy. Let's stand up for things like truth, democracy, diversity, and of course, a strong public education for every child in North Carolina. Fund education, not corporations. Fund education, not corporations. Fund education, not corporations. Thank you, Charlotte.
All right, we're doing a little change of pace. Up next, we got a spoken word by Scott from Drum Song. He's going to do a little bit of MAGA spoken word called Fool's Gold. Give it up for Scott, everybody.
We're here together for basically one reason. Yes, I get it. Clearly, we know there are too many issues to post on one sign. But ultimately, we're together because we care. We care for our planet, our family, our neighbors, democracy, and our rights, and our sanity. And we understand that when people focus their attention towards positive results, they will manifest. Feel the unity and appreciate the opportunity to share it collectively with compassionate, passionate people peacefully gathered here and in over 2,000 cities globally right now. I started writing a piece on the day of inauguration, January 20th, 2017. I picked it up again on the day of the Emperor's gold shoe sales and tried to finish it on the day of inauguration, January 20th, 2025.
You get a pardon!
I call it Fool's Gold, a MAGA saga. And I can't stop adding verses. You can fool all the people some of the time. You can fool some of the people all of the time. Abe Lincoln, parts 1 and 2. The emperor is naked, bears no clothes, dons transparent, orange skin, affairs exposed, nothing of value, a MAGA void of domains, nothing worth draping even solid rags over remains. A vacant shell of self-aggrandizing testaments, unadorned, kindness scorned, scandalizing and morally stripped of viable vestments, wrapped only in lies and cheats. Sheets cover deceits for his own advancement. His cleats tramp a goose-stepped dance of faux fettered enhancement. Sanity barely dents the dense narcissistic cape of vanity, obsessed with revenge, consumed with vengeance. Only intense dominance inspires this snake of humanity. The thread count in his head mount is negligible. Unraveled, one sees through the veneers, untenable and unintelligible. Not an ounce of compassion, no part worth enhancing, no heart in the dark of the cavity. Your tongue just used for licking and lashing, all pounce and trounce, a vindictive, cruel tool of depravity. Nothing but a corrupting crook. Casinos, Bible, crypto, book, shoes, watch, university, stakes, all fakes. White House or jail, you're on the takes. Villainy designs are par for your course. Casinos, Bible, crypto, book. A litany of crimes, but maybe the worst. A children's cancer charity that you and your sons bilked. Still, select me, elect me, pardon my guilt. First day dictator, both sides good peeps, women love me. Protest of peace, beautiful call to Kiev, what card you flippin'? With such inflamed hysterics, gerrymandered clerics, Supreme Court carved, hard right for your pickin'. Tailor-made mayhem, slack of weave warps us versus them. Sown, seedy deceit, insatiable greed competes for irrelevant.
You are watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Presenter there with little spoken word at a No Kings protest taking place live now in Uptown Charlotte. That got underway around 11 this morning at First Ward Park. Top right-hand side of the screen, you can see how busy it is with our aerial view of the rally in Charlotte. They're going to be walking around through Uptown, so do be aware of that traffic-wise, and then head back to First First Ward Park. And then bottom right-hand side of the screen, as you can see there, folks are lined up along the street in Monroe. And so with that, we do have our Jesse Pierre just coming into frame here. And I know you were in Waxhaw earlier, Jesse, and now you're right here in the middle of this crowd. How is it going? And you're talking to some folks there in Monroe.
Yes, a lot of energy here. Again, like you mentioned, we were in Waxhaw, and there was hundreds of people here. Again, hundreds of people here in the crowd. Again, a group of folks here for the No Kings protest, fighting for democracy. I have one of the organizers here, Dean. Talk to me about putting this together, why you want to be a part of this, and your message today.
Well, the message is simple. It's no kings, which most of us, all of us have. You know, Donald Trump answered a question about this protest with the royal we. He said, oh no, we are not a king. Well, you kind of tripped on yourself there, buddy. This is very important for us. This is very important for democracy. We have a constitutional right to be here and to protest, and we have a lot of folks that are saying we don't. Right now, we have, you know, the taco man who's chickened out again as of last night. He's issued new instructions that agricultural workers are not to be targeted. The leisure workers are not to be targeted. In other words, big finance got in touch with our billionaire president and told him, you're hurting our business. So suddenly those are going to stop. This man is a disgrace. He lies faster than he speaks. Just last week he said Russia lost 51 million people in World War II and that Vladimir Putin fought in World War II. Vladimir Putin wasn't born when the war ended. And the Soviet Union lost 25 million people, not 51. The man is absurd. He lies faster than he can speak. And that's what this is about, is stopping this attack on our Constitution, attack on our people. There's not a single reason in the world that active duty Marines should be taking people into custody as they are right now in LA. We have a law against that, the Posse Comitatus law.
You know, seeing and hearing about all of these protests going from city to city to city across the country, how empowered are you seeing, and I don't know how many people do you guys have out here?
520.
520 people. How empowered are you seeing folks
How empowered am I? Watch this.
This is what democracy looks like! 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 Louder! This is what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like!
How can you not be empowered? This is wonderful. Jen.
You have another.
This is Jen Sanders, head of the Democratic Party in Union County.
Got it. So talk to me about, being here today and again, just making your message more clear.
Oh, well, this is exactly what democracy looks like. We have out of the street, sorry. We have diversity out here. We have every walk of life out here. We have people who want to fight for our country and our rights, and understanding that we do not live in a fascist nation. And then we're here to prevent stuff like that because they think that they can scare us, but this is 700 strong out here. And in Waxhaw, we had over 400. And it's Republicans, Democrats, unaffiliated, independents. We all have a voice in what happens in our country. So we're really excited.
Thank you so much for speaking with us. Again, we're in Monroe. Like you saw, hundreds of people here fighting for what they say. They're fighting for democracy, fighting for this country. And that is what's happening here in Monroe. So I'll be here, and then I'll be going to Rock Hill later. So a lot of protests going on across the country in the Carolinas with folks coming out to these No Kings protests. Jane? Here we are.
Jesse, if you can hear me, because I know there's a lot of energy out there, but if you can hear me, I know you covered and talked to organizers approaching this day and saying that, it is this bigger picture and that it is a peaceful demonstration of what they want. Can you speak to that and how it's being displayed from what you're seeing from Waxhaw to Monroe?
This is what they are all fighting for.
All right, thank you, Jesse, bringing us live pictures and interviews from people out there in Monroe. Heading to Rock Hill, we'll get a sense of what it is there in Rock Hill in minutes. But yes, a lot of activity there happening in Monroe as they chant USA. All right, we are coming up on 12 o'clock here on Live Impact News. And I'm Jane Monroe. You are watching Live Impact News, this special edition here on WCNC Plus. Thanks for joining us. We are your only station in the Charlotte market, bringing you these live No Kings protests in our area as they are happening, with raw, unedited videos and feeds and the coverage from Iredell County down through where we saw Jesse there in Monroe, headed to Waxhaw, and of course we've got Charlotte covered as well. More speakers taking the stage here in the Charlotte area in Uptown, as they also want to bring that message, their message of no kings, on this Flag Day, on President Trump's birthday, with a big military parade and celebration being planned for later on in Washington, D.C. 1,800 protests planned nationwide in response to the Trump administration. Let's go ahead and listen in here now live on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Of life are joining together to proclaim that this is not the land of tyrants and monarchs. This country belongs to everyday working people. Today, that's right. Okay, it's awesome. Yes. Today, in our city, we also celebrate the promise of liberation. In Plaza Midwood, we have begun our week-long celebration of Emancipation Day, also known as Juneteenth. Days where we commemorate the liberation of enslaved descendants of African people in Galveston, Texas. 2 months after the Civil War had ended, and 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. What a timely moment to reflect on our constant collective struggle for liberation of all people, regardless of their background, regardless of their status, regardless of their nation of origin. While it is a great shame that this country continues the tradition of trafficking humans, exploiting labor, and separating families, trading transatlantic boats for cargo planes and buses, we must rejoice in the fact that we, the people, also continue the tradition of resistance and rejection of tyranny. Today, on Flag Day, we celebrate not only the marker of independence in this country, but also the work of a seamstress from Philadelphia named Betsy Ross. It is a clear reminder that what lives in that sacred space between dreams and reality is the labor required to get shit done. Y'all felt that one? I did. And the audacious courage to see it through. So today, I leave you with this message. Nothing, and I mean nothing, moves in this city, in this county, in this state, in this country without us, working families, without the labor that transforms American dreams into our collective reality. While this work may seem thankless and unending, without the labor that there we go, we're getting in there. While this work may seem thankless and unending, I assure you, the rewards on the other side of this labor of love means a better world than what we are living in today. So, as we proclaim, no crowns, no thrones, no kings, we must also proclaim that because nothing in this land moves without us, that the twisted dreams of the oligarchs and the naked emperors will remain just that. Let's go get them.
I hope you will forgive me. I found the other person. There is technically 2 more people. Don't be mad at me, guys. Don't be mad. All right? I promise. Every single... Give it up for all of our speakers so far. All right. Up next, we have Stefania Ortega, who is the co-founder of Carolina Migrant Network and is a dedicated strategist at fighting back the tide of ICE enforcement in our community. Please give her a round of applause.
Hey y'all, I'm little. I'm sorry. ¿Cómo está mi gente? In the spirit of language justice, because we all come different backgrounds, I'm going to start in Spanish. Por el derecho a la justicia al lenguaje, voy a comenzar en español porque aquí no hay ningún solo lenguaje en este país. Mi nombre es Stefania Arteaga, orgullosamente salvadoreña y en contra de la dictadura de Bukele. Estoy aquí porque yo vine a los Estados Unidos con mi familia. Viví debajo de la workplace rate más grande de la administración de Bush. Mi existencia ha sido resistencia en este país. Y estoy aquí porque como muchos de ustedes, estoy encabronada. I'm pissed. Estoy encabronada porque estoy harta que quieran que trabajemos y que no nos paguen suficiente. Estoy harta de tener que tener miedo de cruzar la calle. Estoy harta porque me emputa yo. ¿Me emputa? Me emputa. Escuchar de niños que tienen miedo que sus papás no lleguen a la casa. Eso no es justo. Estoy aquí porque el trompetas se está pasando y hay que ponerle su paro. Estoy aquí porque lo que pasó en Los Ángeles no se puede repetir y no se puede justificar. Sabemos muy bien que la criminalización de nuestro pueblo es una herramienta de los gobiernos tiránicos. Sabemos que cuando nuestra gente la quieren meter en las cárceles, esa es una herramienta de opresión. Les quiero decir 2 cosas. No nos vayamos muy lejos. El viernes pasado, cuando comenzó lo de Los Ángeles, ¿qué es lo que hizo el partido de mayoría aquí en el Carril del Norte? Pasaron rápidamente 2 propuestas de ley para criminalizar a nuestra gente. Pasaron 2 propuestas para que la policía local y estatal fueran una extensión de ICE. Y ahorita mismo el gobernador Stein tiene hasta este viernes para vetar estas propuestas. Y necesitamos que las veta. Porque esto no es si hay criminales o no, Esto es, ¿qué vas a hacer contra el fascismo? ¿Qué vas a hacer contra los fachos? Así que para mi gente latina que está aquí ahorita le vamos a dar una acción. Ahorita mismo vamos a tomar acción. Van a ir a la página de Carolina Migrant Network, van a abrir nuestro Linktree y van a buscar la acción para decirle al gobernador Stein que nosotros demandamos que vete las propuestas anti-inmigrantes que quieren poner a nuestra gente en las cárceles y que quieren poner a nuestra gente en aviones de deportaciones. All right, it's English time, y'all. Be quick. All right, y'all. So I am proudly Salvadoran, but that does not mean I support the Salvador. Let me be clear. I am proud to be an immigrant in this country, proud to have lived through the largest workplace raid under the Bush administration. I am proud to have been able to move to North Carolina and fight back against tyrannical policies under various administrations. And I am pissed. I am pissed because we are seeing families and have been seeing families ripped apart. We have been seeing children call our ICE hotline because they're scared if their parents are going to come home. What other kidnappings may be happening by federal law enforcement? I am pissed, and we can't stand by that. That's right. LA was just a glimpse of what this government...
We're going to break away from this live rally in Uptown right now and take you out to a live press conference in LA where the protests occurred last weekend and escalated so that the mayor right now is speaking. Let's go ahead and listen in as they prepare for weekend anticipated protests as well. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC+.
So attacked and have undergone surgery. I just want to say that my thoughts and prayers are with them and their families. And I think one of the things that was the most troubling about this is that it appeared to be motivated by political viewpoints, and the shooter was impersonating a law enforcement officer. That is the latest that I've heard. I'm sure the details will change as time goes on. But, you know, political violence just has no place in our country. We have seen the rise of threats, attempts, and attacks, and it is horrifying, and it absolutely, positively must stop. Changing to today, long before the federal raids of Home Depot and the deployment of U.S. Marines in Los Angeles, people in cities and across the country planned demonstrations today against the overreach of the White House and the expensive military parade. The military parade, this is the first time in almost 40 years. No King's protests will take place in thousands of cities across the nation. There will be multiple protests in Los Angeles, happening in downtown LA, on the west side, the San Fernando Valley, and also adjacent cities. And as people march today, my call is please, please do not give the administration an excuse to intervene. Let's make sure we show the world the best of Los Angeles and our country. Let's stand in contrast to the provocation, escalation, and violence. Let me be clear, although the president has said that LA needs to be liberated, what LA really needs is to be liberated from raids on taco stands, Home Depot parking lots, and near schools. The threats of the U.S. troops on American soil, that liberation can take place when the raids are stopped. This is an attempt to divide us, but we will not be divided. No matter what, Angelenos will stand united. We are here united with a plan to make sure that you are safe today if you choose to exercise your constitutional right, your American right to protest today, but to protest peacefully. The city of Los Angeles remains in a unified command structure with the LAPD leading the strategic coordination amongst the fire department, the county sheriffs, LA County Fire Department, and the California Highway Patrol. I want to thank all of the officers, deputies, firefighters, and first responders who are and have been working around the clock to keep us safe. They have dedicated their life to local law enforcement. This is their profession. They are highly trained. The White House should let them do their job, and I want to thank those who protest peacefully, exercising their First Amendment right. This is the American tradition, and those who commit violence are not doing so on behalf of immigrants. And make no mistake, we have zero tolerance for anyone who damages property or puts officers or people at risk. Yesterday's protests were peaceful. and very few arrests were made last night, primarily for curfew violations. The curfew within downtown LA will remain in effect tonight, and hundreds of additional personnel are mobilized and proactively positioned to keep people safe and to protect property. The Los Angeles Fire Department is keeping last night's shift of firefighters on call to ensure we have the maximum number of personnel to effectively support our entire city. The fire department has also pre-deployed and pre-positioned resources to provide medical assistance and fire suppression support, as it is expected that over the next couple of days Los Angeles will be very hot. The temperatures will be very high. The California Highway Patrol will also continue providing enhanced support to LA. We continue to have a strong partnership with state resources, and we thank the governor for that. The City of Los Angeles Emergency Operations Center, where we are right now, is coordinating logistics and operations across more than a dozen city departments and is poised to escalate to a higher level of operational capacity should the needs arise. Law enforcement officials will be on high alert for any and all threats to this city. And my message to Angelenos is to stay safe, stay alert, and follow guidance from law enforcement officers who will be located throughout the city. We will not allow violence, vandalism, or other dangerous behavior, so don't even try it in the city today. You will be held accountable to the full extent of the law. Protest peacefully. The eyes of the world are on us, Los Angeles. Let's make sure that we are not defined by the actions of Washington. Let's show the world what Los Angeles, California, and our nation is about. Freedom, the First Amendment, peace and unity, freedom, and our Constitution. With that, let me introduce the Chief of Police for Los Angeles, Jim McDonald.
Thank you, Mayor Bass. The Los Angeles Police Department is fully prepared for the demonstrations that will take place across our city today. Our top priority remains the safety of everyone in our city, demonstrators, residents, businesses, and our officers. And I truly ask for your help in allowing us to be able to do that in the most peaceful manner possible. We're closely monitoring developments that have deployed our personnel and resources strategically to protect public safety while safeguarding every individual's constitutional right to protest peacefully. Since the onset of these demonstrations, arrest activity has varied. On both Sunday and Monday, arrests exceeded 200 people. In response to the escalating incidents of violence and property damage after dark, the city enacted a curfew from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. beginning on June 10th. That curfew remains in effect through the weekend and has been instrumental in helping to reduce unlawful conduct that has tended to occur over the nighttime hours. The LAPD continues to operate under a unified command in collaboration with the California Highway Patrol, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, and the Los Angeles City Fire Department, and our partners in the county as well as a variety of other public safety partners. This coordinated citywide approach ensures that we share in intelligence, deploying resources efficiently, and responding rapidly as situations unfold. Let me be very, very clear. If you're here in Los Angeles today to make your voice heard through peaceful demonstrations, we are here to protect you. But if you come with the intent to commit crime, damage property, or harm others, including our officers, you will be arrested. We will not allow violence or lawlessness to endanger lives in the city of Los Angeles. We're asking everyone who plans to participate in today's events to do so peacefully and respectfully. Violence and destruction don't make your voice louder. They distract from your cause. Help us ensure that the focus stays on the message and not mayhem. We also want to remind the public that if you see something, say something, whether it's suspicious activity, a potential threat, or someone in need of help. Please alert law enforcement or call 911. Your vigilance is one of the greatest tools for us to be able to maintain public safety. Los Angeles has an opportunity to be able to set an example for how cities can support passionate civic engagement while still protecting public safety. Let's show the nation that we can come together, speak out, and still stand unified in peace. Finally, I want to take a moment to thank all of our law enforcement officers, firefighters, paramedics, dispatchers, emergency personnel, and all of our civilian professional staff who supported this effort throughout. They've worked tirelessly over the past week, many of them sacrificing time with their families and working long hours to keep our city and residents safe. Your commitment and professionalism do not go unnoticed, and a thank you sincerely to everybody who has been so helpful to us in the past week. Now I'd like to introduce Interim Fire Chief Ronnie Villanueva.
Thank you, Chief. Good morning, all. Today, June 14th, in response to the ongoing protests and anticipated activity.
All right, we are just listening in here live at a press conference in LA as they are getting ready for the weekend's protests, these No Kings protests taking place all over the country. Of course, LA last weekend was pretty much ground zero for all of the escalation of such protests that the Trump administration deployed National Guard troops as well as Marines. And so they are taking the precautions and letting everybody know of their safety plans for peaceful protests. And that is what we're seeing in Uptown Charlotte right now. You can see the aerial shot, beautiful picture of First Ward Park. Still finding presenters there on stage before they march through Uptown. Let's listen in here live now on Live Impact News on WCNC+.
All for attending. Now, gather all your people. Some groups are going to want to march together. AFT and Labour, they're going to be at their table. Calm. Raise your sign high. Indivisible. Give it up for Indivisible for putting this all together, guys. Whether you arrived alone or with a group of friends, jump in, grab a percussion instrument on your way out of the park.
All right, it looks like they're getting ready to stage now to do that march around Uptown. We have our aerial view now from our chief photographer, Paul, who is taking these beautiful pictures live now coming into the WCNC Charlotte newsroom. That march, a peaceful event so far on this No Kings protest, this Flag Day, and President Trump's birthday. This happening right now. It is going to pretty much go make this big circle about a mile plus around Uptown and circle back to First Ward Park. But as you can see, the streets are going to be filled up, and this will affect traffic in the area for a little bit of time here. They'll wrap things up in at First Ward Park after several presenters, including Mecklenburg Representative Jordan Lopez, who spoke much earlier today. Around the Charlotte area, we have 12 or so protests and these events happening for the No Kings events happening across the country, pretty much saying standing up against the Trump administration, what it has been standing for since President Trump took office in January. Charlotte here, of course, is the big one that started at 11 o'clock this morning. As we can see here, the picture now from our drone from Paul Thorson. Thank you for those beautiful pictures, Paul. You can see how much real estate it's taking up. So this is going to definitely affect things around there in Uptown. You can get a sense of the thousands of people who gathered at the Uptown location. We also have locations being covered between Waxhaw, Union County, Monroe. Our Jesse Pierre is now moving from Monroe to Rock Hill to see what their event is going to look like, because that starts at 2 o'clock this afternoon. And we also have a crew up in Statesville, our Bria Smith up there covering things up in Iredell County. Statesville has seen hundreds of people show up there so far, peaceful as well. So the First Amendment right being executed here in peaceful in a peaceful manner, as organizers were hoping and trying to put that message out there, that everything above all else, say what you want to say, but do it in a peaceful way and don't break the law. And there are a number of things you can and cannot do. Speaking of which, here, since we are bringing you this live feed on WCNC Plus and this special edition of Live Impact News, at times through the speakers. We have heard some sketchy, if not downright a little bit of vulgar language, some profanity being used that is coming into our feed here, which we have no control over, but it is streaming. So on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, we apologize for what is coming in raw and unedited. So on this Flag Day, as you know, President Trump's birthday and the military parade and celebration planned for Washington, D.C. later on this afternoon. This is in one of the events, one of the thousands of events in response to the Trump administration saying that there are no kings and no emperors. And we've seen a lot of signs showing exactly that message. So there you can see now it is spreading along the streets there at from First Ward Park. Is that Spectrum Center there in the distance? And this will make about a mile and a quarter route around and then head back into First Ward Park. This is supposed to be taking place until about 1 o'clock, might spill over to the till 2 o'clock. We are with you here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus until then, at least. And so we'll be covering these live pictures and protests for you around the Charlotte area. But as you can see, so far, so good. If you are just joining us here, this is a special edition of Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. As you're looking at some live pictures now from our crews out there in the field and covering things from different areas between Statesville and Charlotte and Union County, want to catch you up on some breaking news as well. This is out of Minnesota, where 2 Minnesota lawmakers were shot early this morning. Authorities there saying that it was politically motivated and that there is a manhunt for the shooter. For these 2 representatives, Melissa Hortman and her husband were shot. They did go through into surgery, but unfortunately they succumbed to their injuries. Melissa Hortman, representative there out of the St. Paul area, and her husband confirmed killed in that shooting. Senator John Hoffman and his wife were also shot. They also went through surgery this morning. They are said to be out of surgery and recovering, and doctors and authorities are optimistically cautious as far as the prognosis from their injuries from this morning's shootings. Getting you caught up as well on that, as we've been listening to some press conferences around that. Again, confirmed that it appears to be politically motivated, an assassination, according to Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, who spoke earlier this morning, and authorities saying that around 2 o'clock this morning, there was a call, a 911 call, that someone shot Senator Hoffman and his wife. And so police responded, but as they were responding, they thought it was best to check some of the other lawmakers, including Representative Melissa Hortman, who lives near Senator Hoffman. And so when they did go to Hortman's house, they noticed a police car in the driveway, and someone dressed like an officer fired at them and then ran off. So they are saying that the suspect may have been impersonating a police officer. He is on the run at this hour, and that they are having a shelter-in-place order for the area of Northeast Minneapolis. Also, related to that, because of the shooting that's and the investigation and the search for this person, that the No Kings event in Northeast Minneapolis has been canceled, and that the authorities, they're also really recommending that all of the state's No Kings events be not canceled, but they're encouraging people not to attend, unfortunately. So they're just hoping that they find this person who shot 2 lawmakers, where they are saying that it appears to be a politically motivated attack. As we look into that now, the parade, it is underway. I call it a parade, a march, No Kings March. happening there. This is a live look of our aerial, our drone shot now, leaving First Ward Park and going through Uptown, where so far there seems to be a pretty good turnout. Thousands of people turning out in Uptown Charlotte, and they're going to make their way around the Spectrum Center, make this big circle back to First Ward Park. But it is filling up the streets, and that is definitely going to take some time to get everyone all the way back around. So a traffic consideration for you if you live in the area or you had something planned for perhaps later on tonight, maybe afternoon plans, something to keep in mind. Just avoid this perimeter or the immediate perimeter, and maybe take the, what is it, the Metrolink up, Jeb? Up into Uptown, the blue line? Yes, the blue line up to Uptown if you want to get into the area anytime soon. Also want to update you on the protests in Statesville. So far, so good, peaceful there, as things have been relatively quiet and uneventful in the way of anything escalating to a level where it's against the law. So far, peaceful protests with the No Kings protests happening across Iredell County in Statesville. It looks like there was a pretty decent turnout there with our Bria Smith talking to folks, and our photojournalist Manny Saldana there on scene, bringing us these live images now, and it looks like the crowd is even getting more inflated. So a lot of people lining up both sides of the street there in Statesville. So from Statesville there through Charlotte, and I know we have there are events planned for Mooresville, Monroe, Waxhaw, and Rock Hill, where now our Jesse Pierre broke down their crew. They're traveling now from Monroe over to Rock Hill with their event planned for 2 o'clock this afternoon. So we are going to be monitoring things here, but so far it looks like there are pretty decent turnouts in the Charlotte area. Over a dozen or so of these No Kings protests planned for our area. Let's go ahead and listen in here live now on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Back to LA.
And you often see police respond, put up a skirmish line of officers to get in between groups to be able to maintain the peace, keep them apart from each other, and then hold each side accountable for their behavior and actions.
Well, once again, we function by rumors. So I heard that rumor too. I do not know if that is factual, and I have certainly not had any hotel owners or operators reach out to the mayor's office. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Be safe.
All right, it looks like they are breaking down that press conference out of Los Angeles again. The mayor there, as well as other safety leaders, discussing the weekend's plans on what is happening with their anticipated protests throughout the weekend. It looks like our Bria Smith is talking to some folks gathered up in Statesville. Let's go ahead and listen in here live now on Live Impact News.
My name's Diana Velasquez. Spell it for me. Diana. Last name Velazquez. Awesome.
Hello, my name is Angel Pena. It's Angel and Pena.
My name is Anaí Arellano, Anahi, Arellano.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline Sierra, Yaquelin Sierra.
Awesome. So talk to us about, first of all, why you're here today. Obviously, the importance of being here and exercising, your voice.
Well, my parents came here with nothing and gave me everything, so this is the least I can do for them. We're the voices for them, obviously. and that's really why I'm here.
Absolutely. What does it mean to be able to peacefully protest? Obviously, you see, there are opposing views, and I think I saw you. There's just two of you on the corner here, and you were kind of just holding up, what you represented, which spoke volumes, right alongside someone who had, something opposing from you. What does it mean to be able to just? How do you feel being able to do that?
I'm very grateful. I came over here not only because he was over here, but because most Trump supporters are Christian, and they say they're Christian, but they're really not Christian. You can't say you're Christian and not have that heart.
Absolutely. Is there anything you guys want to say about, being here today, the importance, maybe describe some of your signs, what went into creating these? Go ahead.
Well, first of all, families belong together. That's not a question that should be questioned at all. But the separation that we've been dealing with, it takes a toll on a lot of people, and this sign just means we should be together, all of us. There should be no.
And you all are pretty young. We're probably around the same age. But what does it mean at a young age to be able to understand what's going on, and still holding these signs, showing people that they can use their voice no matter who you are, where you come from, how old you are?
Most people are privileged, and they don't realize that. They grew up having everything. Our people sacrificed everything just to come here to give us a better life, and they don't know what that feels like. They've had it.
I definitely I feel like it's not our first time going through this. Back when he was elected, I don't remember, I think it was 2016. We were a lot younger, but now we're actually the age where we're allowed to speak our voices, be the people out there protesting, showing our point of view. I just think it makes it that much more better because we're actually here and we're able to do something now. And having had lived what we lived when we were little, that fear, we're using that fear here to show up and be the voice for the people that can't use their voice.
Absolutely. Very lastly, for anyone who might want to answer, what is something that you hope people can take away from this event today? And I mean, they're happening all over the state, but all over the country, really. What is a big takeaway you have?
I just pray for everybody out there that can just see our side and we're so young, we shouldn't even have to be doing this. The separation is crazy. Like I said, they're privileged. They don't know what that feels like. So,
Absolutely. It was a pleasure to meet you guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Let's get one shot of your signs together. I got yours already.
You are watching live right now on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus as we take a peek in with our crew up in Statesville, talking to some young folks showing up for the No Kings protest there in the Statesville area. You can see some of their signs talking about their parents and families belong together. These protests planned across the country as we are covering some of them in our area. One in Charlotte, just leaving First Ward Park in Uptown Charlotte, making a big circle around Spectrum Center and 7th, and they will come back to First Ward Park. It opened around 11 o'clock this morning with several speakers, including local leaders and some of our state representatives for Mecklenburg County. And then in Statesville, you can see the folks there lining up Main Street as they have been peacefully protesting, and the numbers keep growing. And then we are just taking a peek now at a protest in South Florida, where there are a dozen or so at least planned for South Florida, Palm Beach County, down through Dade County, and it looks like there's a bit of a traffic issue there because of it. But of course, South Florida is home to many ethnic groups and a lot of nationalities there, as it is quite the melting pot. So protests there, American flags being shown from our NBC affiliate, showing the aerial shots over the Miami-Dade area. But as we take a peek at our own drone shot from our chief photographer, Paul Thorson, in Uptown Charlotte, you can see how folks are showing up there. And I know our Tradisha Woodard is also trying to gather some interviews. She's talking to people as well. When we see her picture, it's been kind of finicky here as these shots are with are coming into the Live Impact News studio just sort of raw and unedited. But as soon as we can get a picture and a feed from Tradisha's live shot there, we will go to it. In the meantime, just bringing you some of these live images taking place with these No Kings protests happening around the country, planned for at least the last week and a half. Certainly, the big event happening last weekend with a number of protests in Los Angeles and starting the events pretty much to roll and get underway. But President Trump is hosting a military parade today, which is also his 79th birthday and the Army's 250th anniversary. So that is kicking off later tonight out of Washington, D.C. at 6:30. Festival and day festivities also kicking off around 11 this morning. But in response to the Trump administration and a lot of reasons for people to come out to these events, activists planning and have been planning thousands of these No Kings protests around the country in all 50 states, really, and including the Charlotte area, over a dozen or so between Iredell County and down through Union County. And here in Charlotte, you can see that shot now of people just walking along or walking away from First Ward Park with all different kinds of signs. All right, so as we regroup here at 12:40, just want to let you know that you are watching on Live Impact News, this special edition on WCNC Plus, covering these No Kings protests happening around not only the nation, but here in our own backyard, about 12 of them. 12 or so, anywhere from the north of our viewing area. Concord is also in this list, and Albemarle, they have theirs pretty much wrapped up, as well as Salisbury. That will take place at 3 o'clock today, 3 to 5. What are some of the other later ones? Shelby has one in about 20 minutes. That is from 1 until 4. Wadesboro from noon until 2, and Rock Hill, that will be happening in an hour or so, planned from 2 o'clock until 4 o'clock. Thanks for joining me here as we are bringing you again this special edition, the only local news station in the Charlotte area covering these protests and these events for you live here on WCNC Plus. Thank you for joining us and downloading the WCNC app to your phone or your Roku, Fire, or Apple TV. There's Statesville right now, live picture there, what the main intersection in front of the Civic Center. You can see pretty much protesters and demonstrators on all four corners of the street. Arbria Smith has been handling things up there and talking to folks and from all kinds of point of views. She talked to somebody who's there because she doesn't agree with how education is being handled and teacher pay. Others there for immigration issues. So these issues and the reasons why people are showing up to these No Kings protests are varied, and it is not just one thing. Excuse me. But as we take a peek here, the message for organizers, certainly to our folks here at WCNC Charlotte, the plan is, and the intention is to make your voice heard, but in a peaceful way as you exercise your First Amendment right. I think that was the big message from a lot of these No Kings organizers, telling certainly our Jesse Pierre, who was saying that these events were also meant to be family friendly. And we did hear from a 10-year-old boy who was there with his mom and showing his support. And so, I mean, it just goes to show you that, you know, folks, young and old, are coming to these events. We hope things stay peaceful, but we just wanted to bring you all of these live images right now as we cover things from the ground and from the air. With the protest taking place in Charlotte, Things are going to be wrapping up around 2 o'clock at First Ward Park, but so far so good there. CMPD has said that they are taking the precautions to keep everyone safe, and that really is the point, for everyone to exercise their First Amendment right. So things are looking pretty good so far as we have been coming up here on the stream since 11 o'clock this morning. A very busy day on this June 14th, Flag Day, and a military parade that is expected to be pretty huge out of our nation's capital. And then these 1,800 plus No Kings events are taking place starting this morning in the Charlotte area up to now, and will carry on until 4 or 5 o'clock, depending on where you are around Charlotte Metro. We've been also looking at pictures from the state capitol, from Raleigh. A lot of people turning out in Raleigh, as well as other parts of the East Coast. So that is our Tradisha Woodard now walking through some of the crowds there, and let's just go ahead and let's take a peek, if we can, and listen in here if there's any sort of ambient sound. Again, because of this live feed, friends at home just watching us here, some of the images and signage might be on the sketchy, vulgar side, but that is what is happening here live on this march, so far peaceful, in Charlotte for these No Kings events.
I can't hear them through my AirPods, so.
Retired Marine. Yeah, check it out. I hope you
I don't know, probably not. Probably not. I don't know. That's fine. Thank you. All right, let me see if I can find somebody that's not too far back.
You need water?
You want a water? Oh, he got one. Thank you, though. Are you guys interested in doing a live interview? Okay. Ben, we got dinner. I'll stand in the middle of both of them. Okay. Yeah. So we'll keep marching, so we won't go out crowd. You guys will be in the middle. Okay.
Is there mic on? Like so.
Make sure. Mic check 1, mic check 1, 2. Don't fall, whatever you do. Mic check 1, mic check 1, 2. You got me? Okay, I can't hear them, so can you point to me when you're ready?
I don't know what they're saying. So I can't.
It's too loud. It's too loud. I'm gonna say. Okay, I think we're up, maybe. I can't hear you, Jam. I'm not sure.
That's
if you
okay.
can hear me.
No,
we can text to make sure.
Yeah, Tradisha, we can hear you, and I know it's quite loud out there, so whenever you're ready, I know you're talking, yeah, go ahead. I know you have some folks ready and willing to speak.
I want to make sure you guys can hear me before I start.
Yeah, we got you.
We are on. Perfect. Okay, right now, so we are in the middle of the march. The march started just moments ago. I have two beautiful ladies that I'm walking aside right now. I just have a few questions. So my first question is, why is it so important for you specifically to be joining this march today?
I am an immigrant. Okay. And I've been living in this country from Ireland since '86. And the sight of children in courtrooms without representation and people being taken away from their families. I saw this one woman like vomiting because she knew she was being torn from her children. It's unacceptable. There's just no way am I living in a country like that. I can't stay home.
You can tell a lot of people here in agreement. They have signs, they're chanting. It's very, very loud. We also have another young lady on this side, man. If you turn around, I'm going to get her perspective really quick. Why is it so important for you to be here? A lot of people have been pushing for change. What are some things that you want to see change?
Well, I mean, I am her daughter, so I'm a daughter of an immigrant, and that's a big reason. But also, I'm a student, and seeing a lot of things that are happening, I just think there's no question everything that's happening is just absolutely ridiculous. I think a big thing that is important to me is the immigration laws, gun laws, women's rights, LGBTQ community, literally all of it. I just think there's no reason to discriminate against anyone.
Yeah. And one of the last things I want to mention is, as we continue to walk down this street, there is a lot of people here, crowds way ahead, right? Talk to me a little bit about the unity. Were you guys expecting this many people to be out here today standing by you?
I'm not sure I expected this many, but it's in the air right now where it feels like something has broken loose and we're ready to just kind of get out and make our voices heard. And I've been to the Women's March here back in 2017, and it was pretty awesome. So, and I trust Charlotte. Charlotte's a great place. I knew it would be good. I knew it would not let us down.
Thank you so much. For now, I'm not sure if you guys can hear me. It's super loud out here, but I'm going to toss it back to you, Jane.
All right, Tradisha, thank you. We heard most of that, but appreciate the firsthand look at what is happening there right in the middle of the march. You can tell how hot it is. Folks having a lot, fan themselves, and it's pretty crowded. We're going to just stay on this for as long as we have the picture up. Ben, I know, is the photog with Tradisha. So Ben or Tradisha, if you guys can hear me, just keep that shot up. We'll stay with you for as long as we can. So if your signal drops, we'll move on. But give you a sense of what it looks like there in the middle of the march happening right now in Uptown. As they started at First Ward Park, there were several speakers, and now it looks like they're approaching the new Novant what's going to be the training center for the Hornets, right? And then they're going to make a big circle, a loop around for about 1.25 miles or so in this heat and in humidity, and then back to First Ward Park. Things got underway around 11 o'clock this morning. A lot of passionate people. If you joined us here on WCNC Plus and on Live Impact News, people taking the stage had some words to say, and they will end back there. They're going to make just this big circle and then back to the park. So I anticipate that we might have some closing speeches. Certainly, we'll dip into that as we see fit. But just getting a look here at some of the signs and on the ground, literally, boots on the ground. They're in the middle of the march with the thousands of protesters. We don't have an exact number yet of the turnout, but from some of our earlier drone shots, we could see that it really had quite the turnout there at First Ward Park, and then filling up the streets here around Spectrum Center, along 7th, and back around. It's just one of the over 1,800 plus events taking place across the nation on today's Flag Day. Everybody's saying we have no kings, we don't have any emperors, and that's why we're doing this, to make our voices heard. You can see some of the signs, how some of these people feel. Top right-hand side of your screen, we've also been following this peaceful protest so far, a No Kings event in Statesville in Iredell County, and our Bria Smith has been talking to a lot of folks there. All right, it looks like they are chanting. Is that Uptown, Jeb? Okay, that's the sound we're listening to. And ambient noise, just giving you a little sense of the energy there. Some of the young folks, like I said earlier, people were encouraged to bring their families, and so we do see some of the young boys there. There were some drummers as well. And then again, across the nation, we had some live pictures between Raleigh. Right now we're looking at South Florida, some of the turnouts there. Philly, as well as Boston, had their own. And we also know, we've been covering also throughout the morning, is the situation out of Minnesota because of 2 lawmakers that were shot in what authorities are saying was attempted assassination, and Representative Melissa Hortman, indeed, along with her husband, were killed. So talking to a safety expert right now. So let's go to our content partner there out of Minneapolis. Atlanta, talking to safety experts there, how they are covering things for their anticipated weekend events here on Live Impact News.
Law enforcement officers at Peachtree and West Peachtree Street, right? Because if you're demonstrating you're a bad actor, you know that, hey, these forces are going to be deployed here, right? So you don't want to broadcast that. The main goal of law enforcement is to keep the public safe. The majority of the protesters, I know you had an interview on earlier, hey, they're peaceful, but you have one or two bad actors, and hey, law enforcement has to get that under control because that affects the safety of everyone that comes to enjoy that event or participate in that event. So what law enforcement is trying to do is, hey, maintain order and make sure that, hey, everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing and not disrupting a particular event.
Marcus, I thank you for your time talking about what we are seeing nationwide with some of these protests today, but I'd be remiss if I didn't also grab you real quick to talk about the unfortunate news that we're seeing out of Minnesota. And I don't know if you've had a chance to see the headlines, but 2 state lawmakers shot there this morning. They're calling it an act of targeted political violence. One of them shot fatally, the other fighting for their life. As somebody who has spent a career keeping public officials safe and keeping members of the greater public safe, can you peel back the curtain and show us what is being done right now, as there is clearly still a manhunt going on at last check for the shooter in this Minnesota case? What is law enforcement doing behind the scenes, and are they coordinating with those in Washington, D.C.? Should there be any kind of copycat threats later?
No, I think like we just spoke about, hey, there's a collaborative effort going on right now in Minnesota between, the local officials, the county officials, the state officials, and the federal government. They're combing through everything they possibly can. I mean, it's extremely premature to comment on the investigation right now. Not knowing, hey, all the facts, all the evidence, anything that was discovered at those crime scenes, right? But there are leads that they're following. I'm sure they're good leads, and I have no doubt that this person will be apprehended. But right now, I think it's a collaborative effort between all the law enforcement entities that can muster up in the Minnesota area. They're putting their heads together, they're teaming up, and they're putting together a plan right now. And I have full confidence that they'll be able to apprehend the suspect.
And Marcus, perhaps what makes this even more difficult is they say that this perpetrator was disguised as law enforcement when he carried out these heinous acts this morning. How does that complicate things?
It does because, it's eroding, it bleeds into that trust that people have of law enforcement. If you see a police officer in a uniform, a police car, you automatically assume that, hey, that person's there to give assistance or render aid. But, I think they've done a good job of putting out the message that, hey, there's a manhunt. Here's what this person did. Here's what they look like, or their mode of operation is, to alert the public. So the public's aware that, hey, this individual or individuals are posing as police officers, and hopefully that gives that awareness to the general public so that they can stay safe.
And back here in Atlanta, focusing on the protests and the preparation.
All right, we are just listening in here live now to our content partner out of Atlanta on how they plan on keeping their folks safe for today's planned protests around the Atlanta area. As we are taking a peek right now at our own No Kings events in and around town. The big picture there is out of uptown Charlotte, and you can see that people have been filling up the streets. It started around 11 o'clock this morning out of First Ward Park. and they are making just one big loop through Uptown, and then they will end back up at First Ward Park. Good turnout this morning. They're in Uptown. That started at 11. It should wrap up around 2 o'clock, as many folks with different reasons showing up for these events. Live protest in Statesville so far has been a peaceful one at that, as you can see from that right-hand corner, upper right corner picture up there, and our crew has been talking to a number of people showing up, and then a live picture of what it looks like in South Florida with a lot of folks turning up there. So traffic is certainly going to be impacted through Uptown, as you can take a look at this map. So if you're still trying to get up to Uptown, might just want to take the blue line up. You can see that all of that red means we've got some congestion. So there's going to be traffic control, something to keep in mind because of the people that are already there. So they're there, fine. But if you have afternoon plans, maybe early dinner plans, and trying to make your way up to Uptown, this is something to keep in mind as the No Kings protest taking place there peacefully. A march now happening around Uptown and circling back to First Ward Park. You can see a lot of different signs, folks carrying flags, and it's just a big scene right now as we have been taking a peek there. Let's go back out to I know Ben has our live picture up and just giving us the sight and sounds of this march in Uptown. And from all things gathered, it seems so far so good. And that is what organizers are hoping for. That's what they've been asking for, is everyone exercise your First Amendment right, but do it peacefully. And there are things you cannot do. You cannot, block the streets or private property unless you've been given this permit. So they obviously have that here in the Uptown area. What are we looking at on our right hand, the bottom right? So as we are taking a look right now, signage been pretty quiet. I mean, you can't even really, there's not, at least in this section of the Uptown March, no chanting at this hour, but we have been hearing some improv and spontaneous chants in and around town with folks gathered all over the place, really. We had one event take place this morning in Waxhaw. I think our Jessie Pierre went from Waxhaw to Monroe. She is now headed over to Rock Hill, where their No Kings event is to take place starting at 2 o'clock, and that will run from 2 until 4. But we know there are planned events for Shelby, Concord, Mooresville, all pretty much underway or about to get underway. So as we are taking a look here just after 1 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon on June 14th, it is Flag Day, President Trump's birthday, and a live picture here coming from our photographer on scene, just gathering the latest with this raw video coming in from Uptown Charlotte. This, of course, is going to be taking place for the next hour. Might run a little bit over 2 o'clock, as from what we gathered, the turnout to this event was a pretty good one. Thousands of people showing up to First Ward Park, and then it just got bigger and bigger over the past hour or so. So with folks just beginning to leave the park and then making this mile-plus march back around, it will take some time to get back into the staging area at the park. Is this
just got on the back of the line. Huh? It's not bad. It's not too hot.
All right, you are watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, a special edition as we are bringing you the live pictures, the sights and sounds, raw and unedited here on Live Impact News of a number of No Kings protests taking place on this Flag Day in response and reaction to the president's decision to put on a big military parade and celebration at the nation's capital on his birthday. He is 79 years old today, and really almost like a culmination of events since last weekend, with protests taking place in Los Angeles to the point where the president deployed National Guard troops and then the Marines out there, and a huge police and military presence out in LA. So with things happening in LA, a number of thousands of these protests planned around the country. No Kings protest planned for today, saying that this is a nationwide day of defiance. So from city blocks to small towns, just kind of a grassroots event taking place, and saying that there are no kings in this country and that they're showing up everywhere. There are no kings, no crowns, no thrones. Their event today is a pretty solid turnout. From what we've seen that our crews have been following between Iredell County, here in Mecklenburg County, and Charlotte, as you can see there with that live picture happening right now, as well as across the country, South Florida, Philadelphia. We saw pictures from Raleigh, Boston as well. Want to update you while I'm on the mic here, and we're looking at some of the pictures and getting our crews in place. Updating you on the breaking news out of Minnesota, where two lawmakers were attacked in a politically motivated attack. Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband killed in the early hours this morning by a suspect who is still on the run. So the search for a shooter remains, but investigators say that he may have been impersonating a police officer this morning, showing up to the homes of Melissa Hortman and her husband, as well as Senator John Hoffman and his wife. Hoffman and his wife also shot. They are recovering after surgery right now. Their exact condition at this point is unknown, not released yet. But they have a shelter-in-place order for the area of northeast Minneapolis in this politically motivated shooting of the two elected officials. And as a result, a No Kings event in northeast Minneapolis has been canceled with a shelter-in-place order in that area. And then they're also encouraging people to not attend other No Kings events in Minnesota. So huge developments there in Minnesota, and a situation that is, obviously tragic for the families and quite surreal that a person impersonating a cop, a police officer, shot two lawmakers in Minnesota. And what they're saying is politically motivated. So more to come as investigators are still looking into an exact motive for those shootings. Looks like our Bria Smith there, top right-hand side of your screen, is talking to some folks showing up at this event in Statesville. So that's a live picture, top right of your screen. Our Tradisha Woodard in the middle of this march, your bigger picture on the left, following the march, heading back around, getting her steps in with so far a peaceful march, an event happening in uptown Charlotte. And then more of the No Kings protest that is happening live on the bottom right side of your screen. All right, so As we take a peek at some of the signs here, again, family friendly. I mean, families were encouraged to come in and bring their children, grandchildren to these events. And so we are seeing a number of young folks participate with their guardians and parents and grandparents. And then the bottom right side of the screen. Let's go ahead and listen in live now. Is this Charlotte or Statesville? Which picture are we taking?
Makes America great!
Oh, okay. All right. So, yeah, sometimes we hear some chanting, and then sometimes, yeah, they're really quiet. So right now, let's just listen on what they're saying. All right, we are going to break away from the scene here in Uptown for just a moment. You can see mom and daughter there on the side, and go to our Bria Smith, who is in Statesville monitoring things there. You've been there for a couple of hours now, Bria. How's it looking?
Absolutely. Well, things are actually dying down here a bit, Jane. Everything should be, or was supposed to wrap around around 1 o'clock. But we had the chance to speak to many people, had different views. One whose family came to this country to give them a better life. Others who are supporting a healthy public education system. But overall, everyone at the end of the day was really pushing just a peaceful protest and making sure that an event like this could really just push for justice at the end of the day, Jane.
And Bria, would you say, how would you describe the family-friendly aspect of it? Because I know organizers were, and I know you spoke to that 10-year-old boy earlier, but how would you say is the overall, message from families being out there in solidarity?
Absolutely. Well, I did have the chance to speak to a family who brought their younger children here. I mean, as young as 10 and 7 years old, which was pretty, surprising but refreshing to see there. And she said she just really wanted her children to learn at a young age how to exercise their voice and to stand for something that they believe in. So overall, really great to be able to see that kind of camaraderie there. And despite people having different views, standing on opposing sides of the crosswalk there, they were still able to remain peaceful. And at the end of the day, I think they remembered that they were a community, and that really stood out here in Statesville today.
That's nice to see. And from all the interviews that you did, it was it seemed like people were there for so many different reasons other than the main headline, right? More than just immigration.
Absolutely. There were people here who had concerns of, economics, finances, growing authoritarianism. So really just different views, but ultimately, you saw a lot of signs that said no kings. I think that was kind of the setting the pace there, the foundation for this rally, just making sure that their voices were heard. They also spoke about how they sent letters in to Congress, and so they just really want to be seen and heard, and that was a really big push for them at today's protest.
And you did allude to other folks being there opposing the no kings, and there was some kind of going back and forth, but from what can you see as far as a public safety angle?
Absolutely. Well, law enforcement, there's a huge law enforcement presence here. Definitely just making sure that people are remaining peaceful, they're remaining cordial, despite having those different views. Really just up and down every corner, up and down the blocks, they'll walk, they'll talk. So definitely making sure that this is something that, people are able to exercise their right to vote, but also making sure that they're doing it in a peaceful environment. And that shows here also in Statesville.
All right, Bria Smith, thank you for bringing us the sights and sounds from there. Nice to hear that everything went off without a hitch. And thank you for bringing all that coverage and other people's points of views and why they came out there to Iredell County. Thanks.
Absolutely, Jen.
All right, we'll get you back out to Uptown Charlotte now. There's a live picture, and it appears that this participant in today's No Kings event is talking to our crew. Let's go ahead and listen in here live on Live Impact News on WCNC+.
I am out here because some of my friends have been illegally detained in Florida. They have not been able to see a trial, and every time they go to see a trial, they have been detained, and therefore they're being accused of not attending a court date.
We're so short on shit.
It's very hard and it's very frustrating.
Just why should people do this protest today?
Well, it's peaceful, it's peaceful, and we're just out there to make the word known, to see people and gather all together to just make sure that we're aware of, we are not a monarchy. It is a democracy.
Cool. That's all I got. I got to get back to the protest.
Okay, I didn't do very good. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay. Well, here, I'm sorry.
No, you're.
All right, just taking in a quick listen there, a live interview with our photojournalist, Ben, who is collecting some interviews for us that are going to be on WCNC Charlotte later on tonight. In the meantime, there's a special edition of Live Impact News on WCNC Plus about 1:15 on a Saturday afternoon. Thousands of No Kings protests being planned across the country, and over a dozen or so in the Charlotte area, the biggest one we've seen for our viewing area happening in Uptown Charlotte right now. The march taking place out of First Ward Park, and going back to First Ward Park. So as folks begin to close back in at the end of today's event, we're just gathering some of the sounds and sights here. It looks like Ben is walking fast, trying to get to the rest of the march and the participants heading back to the park. But we can see there that things were very active. We heard from one participant and the reason why she showed up today. Thousands of people showing up for so many of these events across the country. This is an event taking place in Uptown, again, that is scheduled to wrap up around 2 o'clock this afternoon. And it looks like he's caught up with his crew, the rest of the crew there. I know our Tradisha Woodard is also there gathering some sites and some interviews, talking to other folks. And just like Bria was explaining up in Statesville, people are showing up to the one in Uptown for their own reasons, whether it is trying to say, be against what's happening with these ICE raids, also speaking to the greater picture of what democracy is, and against what they're saying, authoritarianism, fascism. You can see some of the signs here, like I said, against ICE and against, policy for our educators. But Again, these images just coming to us here on Live Impact News, as they do. It is raw and unedited, so this is what we bring to you here, just sort of the ultimate reality on Live Impact News. And that's what we're doing on this Saturday afternoon. Our Jesse Pierre is also heading to Rock Hill. We understand there is a No Kings protest planned for the area. In less than an hour, we will check in with her as soon as they get to the area. She was in Monroe earlier, where there was a good turnout, hundreds of people turning out in downtown Monroe. And then before that in Waxhaw, where there was a pretty nice turnout there as well. So far, so good as well as far as peace goes. Peaceful protests in Waxhaw and Monroe throughout Union County. All right, let's go ahead and raise up the volume here and just check in a little bit in Uptown Charlotte.
Train going by, so we have to stop.
You're watching right now Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. This is live in Uptown Charlotte, where folks in the middle of a march near 7th Street Food Court are heading back to First Ward Park after things got underway around 11 this morning. Things are going to wrap up here in the next hour or so, making their way back to First Ward Park in one of the 1,800 plus protests happening across the country. Uptown Charlotte, the biggest one in our area, happening right now, and one of more than a dozen of such events around our Charlotte metro area. Earlier today, we had a number of speeches taking place at First Ward Park from educators and advocates to local organizations and nonprofits, speaking on varied issues from economics to education to immigration, and what they say is not boding well for a number of reasons from this administration. So today is just in response to many of the things that they have seen, heard, and are against, and exercising their First Amendment right in Uptown Charlotte. So far, quite peaceful, with law enforcement preparing the city and towns all around our area, but peaceful so far. We have not seen any escalation or anything of the sort that resembles anything close to what has been happening in Los Angeles. So that's really good to see. Right now, as we take a look, our Tradisha Woodard is in the middle of this crowd, as well as our photojournalist, Ben, who is bringing these live pictures to us now. And you can see some of those signs, flags from different countries and different groups, and making their way back to First Ward Park. Let's go ahead and take earlier today some of that speech from First Ward Park.
That is where you'll need to go. We believe in safety. We have many marshals here to help us with that. If you see someone in a pink vest, they are a marshal, and they are here to help. So if you have questions, yay for our marshals. So if you have concerns, you need to report something, you need some help, find a marshal, they will help you. Related to safety, Indivisible and our partner organizations are all committed to nonviolent protesting and de-escalation at all times. Counter protesters. Do not engage. Do not respond. Do not let them bait you. Ignore and move on. That sounded a little bit like Dr. Seuss. So the agenda for today, we have some really great speakers here that are going to talk to you about impacts from this administration. And then after we have some speakers, we're going to have a spoken word, some more speakers, and then we will march. The parade starts here and ends here, just an FYI. And at this point, I would like to introduce you to our MC for the day, Kaya Allen. What's up, Patriots? You ready to get this party started? Well, Trump's is celebrating his birthday in Washington, D.C. I'm hoping for rain. $45 million, that's a year's worth of a federal employee's salary. All of the federal employees that he decided to get rid of. $45 million could have gone directly into their hands, and here we are. Are we North Korea? Are we Russia? No! That's damn right. We are America. Yeah! My name is Kai Allen. I am the producer of Bold and Beautiful Comedy here in Charlotte. I am also an advocate for Stop Cop City, Charlotte. If you don't know
City, if you want to abolish ICE, if you want to abolish DHS being in our communities, start with that project. Today we are here to mock a man who wants to be an emperor. Is he an emperor? No! Is he a king? No! Damn right. We are here to mock a man who rose to power on the backs of the angry and the illiterate. This is a man who, he cares about poor people the way vampires care about their blood supply, okay? He is not an advocate for the working class. He is not an advocate for the poor. Who is an advocate for the working class and the poor? Us, the community. We are here to mock a man who has redefined leadership by tweeting from a toilet in all caps. Okay? This is not normal. It's not, guys. You may know him as the president, but I know him as a cautionary tale for pulling out. He is passing executive orders like he's playing Uno with the 4 horses of the apocalypse. Okay? Every day is a fresh new hell, all right? And you guys are the ones out here making sure that that does not trickle into our communities. You are the ones making sure that our neighbors, friends, our family are protected, not this a-hole in the White House, not the clown car of representatives that he has decided were more qualified than the tons and tons of people that he fired to replace them. Not Puppy Popper Gnome, not Whiskey Leaks Pete Hegseth, and not that slithering slime ball Stephen Miller. Listen, I wanted to keep Stephen Miller out of the White House, but he doesn't use doors, he just slithers under them, okay? As soon as he got into the White House, he said, no more printers, we're writing everything in blood, okay? What a freaking nightmare. He does look like Nosferatu. The difference is Nosferatu can keep his wife, okay? Listen, she saw Elon's rockets, she said, I gotta give me some of that. What a douche. Okay. This is a admin filled with hypocrites. This is an admin who they have married immigrants. They are immigrants. What are we talking about here? All of them have benefited from it, and they are using their power to disenfranchise the people that they don't care about, which is us. Are we gonna let that happen? No! No kings! No kings! No crowns! No crowns! No thrones! No thrones! Fuck yeah, dude. Sorry, I wasn't supposed to curse. Speaking of which, the ambulance is here, everything's fine, totally chill. Okay. Speaking of which, where is Melania? She has vanished faster than the last $40 in my bank account. Somewhere there's a Slovenian passport vibrating with the last essence of her soul. Okay? Oh my gosh, I feel like we lost our country in the worst custody battle imaginable. Oh, my notes. Anyone gotten their Doge check? We knew we weren't gonna get that thing. All of that money is going into the top 1%, all right? All of that money, from the tariffs, from the tax breaks, all of it is going into the people that want to suck us dry and have been sucking us dry for decades. And this MAGA insurgency will have us out here trying to pretend that it's the person who's doing the lawn. It's the person who is taking care of you at the hospital. It's everyone else, but who it actually is. It's corporations, right? Yeah. Good. We had our first messy breakup of Pride Month, Elon and Trump. Listen, this is what happens when you fill an admin with daddy issues, okay? It's gonna boil over. We're gonna have narcissists at each other's throats. They really thought that they were eating when he was like, I'll cancel your contracts, Elon. Cancel them! I want them gone! Cancel the contracts! And while we're at it, release the Epstein files. We know exactly what you are. You're a pervert and you're a con. And worse, you are out here representing all of these good American people on a world stage, and we will not have it. No kings! No thrones! No crown!
Okay, as you are hearing earlier today, part of some of the speeches from the No Kings protest that started around 11 o'clock at First Ward Park. And it looks like our Tradisha Woodard is standing by. She has phones in hand and covering right there from the middle of all the action in Uptown. Hi, Tradisha, if you can hear me. How's it going out there?
Well, guys, the protest has just wrapped up. The march has ended. As you can see, if you pan over this way, there's still a group of people in the streets. Let's walk a little bit closer, Ben, so they can get a better idea of what they're saying. Lots of chants. They formed a big circle in the middle of the street here. People still holding up their signs, talking a lot about immigration and the power of unity. This was the biggest takeaway from this group here. Marching. As you can hear, the loud noise. The chants are ongoing. CMPD still have the roads blocked off specifically because of the big wave of people that are standing in the road right now. Once again, the march has pretty much wrapped up, but these people, they still have high energy. They're super excited to be here. They still have their signs. Let's listen into some of the chants right here. Kids are out here. They have instruments. They have signs as well. Families are here.
No KKK, no fascists here. No ICE. No KKK, no fascists here. No ICE. No KKK, no fascists here. No ICE. No KKK, no fascists here.
Once again, as you can see, an energy that is unmatched right now here in the middle of Uptown. Of course, the protest, the march once again has wrapped up, but people are still standing around. They still have their signs. First Ward Park is still pretty packed right now with tons of people just hanging out, meeting with different organizations, passing out numbers, sharing emails. They say that they couldn't be more excited to be out here today and standing together, making a difference. Right now, you can still see people holding up their signs. Medic is also back there. They have lots of water on standby, making sure people are being safe. And right now, it looks like they're clearing them out of the road. Looks like the medic truck is trying to get through here on the side. It looks like they're clearing out the roadway right now. I'm not sure if it's for that medic truck to get through or not. But still the chants, the signs, still being waved, energy still high. Protest march has ended, but once again, like I said, a lot of people are still on standby in the side of the road right now. So right now they're signaling people to get out of the road so they can reopen these roads faster. Once again, the march had already ended, but people were still standing in the street, holding up their signs, saying their chants, but it looks like they're trying to get this road back open. So CMPD on the other side, medic on the other side, trying to get this road back open here. Families split on both sides of the street right now. But yeah, that's what we have going on here on this side. A lot of moving parts, but for now, I'll send it back to you, Jane.
Tradisha, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but did you talked to a number of people involved in the march, and their reasons from our other crews covering things were different. What are people telling you why their reasons for calling them out here on a Saturday afternoon to participate in something like this?
What are the reasons people are coming out?
Let's step back a little bit so we can hear me a little bit more clearly. Let's go this way, Ben. So the question is, I've been here and I've been speaking with a lot of people. One of the questions that was asked to me, Jane, just to be clear, because it's so loud, was what have I been hearing from a lot of the people that came out today? Well, one of the things I will say is the reasons for being here varies. It's personal for a lot of folks, but the mission still remains the same. I've heard people talk about immigration, people talking about voters' rights, making sure that more people can vote. I've heard a lot of voters also talk about, let's walk down a little bit, just a little bit so we won't get the profanity in there. But just overall, Jane, just a lot of different people out here for their personal reasons, and their stories are different, but their mission was the same, walking, marching along together, side by side, in unity.
Walking
and if you're asking me another question, I'm going to get Ben to relay it because I can't hear anything right now.
Oh, that's okay. All right. So Ben, if you'll ask Tradisha, and really you too, what is your sense from a public safety angle? Did you feel safe? Were there any kinds of threats happening?
Did you feel safe?
Yeah. So I 100%. No threats, no threats. It was very peaceful, a very peaceful protest, a very peaceful march. There were waters along the way for people who needed it. As you can see, Medic is still on standby. They've been here all day as well. CMPD's out here. You have them blocking off the roadways, but also you can see some bikers as well to ensure that folks are safe. So yeah, 100% peaceful, no threats. Everything was a pretty smooth, I would say a smooth run today.
All right, guys. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Tradisha, bringing us those images there from Uptown. As Tradisha said, things wrapped up officially for this march, the marching part, and it appears that maybe folks are still just sort of loitering or hanging out there around First Ward Park. You can see there's no real movement. The energy is still high. So as people are being asked to go ahead and clear the streets. Some are remaining, but so far, so good as far as a safety angle goes. We saw some young folks out there, but it looks like a medic on standby. We saw police there on standby, some of the patrol units, but the passions are still there, but remaining peaceful. And that's good to see, good to hear, as I know our local law enforcement trying to prepare for big events like this, as we've seen from the West Coast and LA particularly, how things escalated last week, and how their local law enforcement is preparing for this weekend's No Kings protest, one of over 1,800 across the country. So on the left-hand side, that is Representative Jordan Lopez speaking earlier at today's rally, and he represents District 112, I believe, Mecklenburg County. We can take a little listen in if you missed this earlier. This is around 11:30 this morning, as we continue to just monitor some of the live pictures on the right that's happening here at the end of the march. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC+.
Programs that over 1 million North Carolinians rely on for access to health care. To pay for tax cuts for billionaires, we have to remind these folks that we have no exactly. When they are cutting hundreds of millions for SNAP benefits that ensure people have access to food, in a state where 1 in 6 people are food insecure, we have to remind these people that we have no because who the hell are you working for? If making sure people can't eat, if making sure people can't access their doctor isn't a priority for you, what are you doing other than serving somebody other than yourself, or just serving yourself in the first place? Focusing on North Carolina, when we have a state that is already seeing a surge in gun violence, a city that is already seeing a surge in gun violence, and yet our legislature is passing bills to make it easier to get more guns because our legislative leadership, boom, for sure. Let them know, because they don't listen to us in the building. Trust me, we've tried our best. But let them know that that is not what we want here. When we have more than a handful of problems to solve, and our legislature says, you know what, let's blame immigrants for everything. It's time to remind them. Yeah, boo, boo. Because I know it's not at me, it's at the folks up in Raleigh. Trust me, I'm okay with it. We have to stand up every single day to remind them that we have bigger problems than these messages that they want to push. Than this divide and conquer tactic that they have been putting into use for the past several years to make us otherize anybody else. The problems that we face today, it was said earlier, they're caused by corporations. They're caused by Republican policies that place profits over people, that place self-preservation over democracy. When our legislature gets to handpick their voters, that's Speaker Hall and Senator Pro Tem, Senate Leader Pro Tem, Phil Berger, acting like kings. And again, they like to act like that, but we're here today to remind them that, again, we have no kings! We have no kings! Unlike a lot of politicians, I believe in being brief, so I do not expect to be up here long. I just want to say thank you for being out here this morning. Thank you for not only sharing some of your Saturday morning with us, but for showing the rest of this state, the rest of this country, and the additional 2,000 protests going on across this country that this is what democracy looks like. That we will show up every weekend to fight for democracy, even if it means spending a Saturday morning outside in the warm weather when we could be doing something else, but we'd rather be here because this country is important to us. Our democracy is important to us. So we show up and we show out, and thank you, because we in America have no. We have no. We have no. Damn straight. Thank you all.
Keep it going for Jordan, everybody! It is so important to have a representative that actually has the thoughts and wishes of their constituents in mind. We are out here, we consent every day. And if you can't do what you're supposed to as a legislator, you get voted out. That is how this country works. The only silver lining to this whole debacle is I think all of us are a bit more aware of who our representatives are and what they're voting on. I cannot wait for the terms. All right, next up, we have a veteran and teacher. Wes Fryer is a U.S. Air Force veteran, a 30-year educator, and a current middle school classroom teacher here in Charlotte, teaching STEM. We love our teachers. And media literacy, a graduate of the U.S. Air Force Academy and Fulbright scholar. He is passionate about strengthening democratic norms, civic responsibility, and building community. Give it up for Wes, everybody!
Let me start by saying how beautiful you are. Imagine this, a diverse, pluralistic, representative democracy. What a concept. All right, at the risk of revealing who's a little older here, who remembers Schoolhouse Rock? All right, so a lot of us that took civics back in the day, we watched Schoolhouse Rock. You remember I'm Only a Bill? I'm only a bill, yes, I'm only a bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill, and I don't remember the rest. All right, but that's the point, all right? That simple cartoon taught, and if you don't know it, Google it, all right? Or ChatGPT it, all right? Because it's on YouTube. That simple cartoon taught so many of us how our government is supposed to work. A bill gets introduced. It gets debated. It gets passed by Congress and signed by the president. That's how laws are made. But what happens when a president decides he's above all that? What happens when executive orders replace democratic debate? When due process is ignored and the Constitution is treated like an obstacle rather than a guide. That's why we're here today. I am speaking to you not just as a current middle school classroom teacher. How many teachers do we have out there? Thank you. Thank you, teachers. How many retired teachers do we have out there? Thank you. But I'm also speaking to you as a veteran of the United States Air Force. On May 27th, 1992, I raised my right hand and I took an oath with 1,087 other classmates at a little school you might have heard of at Colorado Springs. I actually got to see the graduation this past year, about 2 weeks ago at the Air Force Academy. And what do we pledge when we receive a commission in the United States military? To support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Today, this oath means everything to me. How many of you have taken an oath like that? But ladies and gentlemen, I want to be clear that our fellow Americans, our neighbors, our co-workers, our family members, are not our enemies. They are our community. The real threat we face today is authoritarianism and fascism. And let me add to that white supremacy, misogyny, and racism. So why no kings? Hey, let me just ask a question. How many of you are on social media? Anybody? Well, I'm going to say this at the end, but I'll just say it now. We need to resist with media too. We need to tell our communities, because we're all connected to different folks, why are we here? Why did you take a risk to be here today? There are folks that are not here who might want to be here. They're not here, and we took a risk to be here. We are here because the founders of our country rejected monarchy. They built a system of separation of powers with 3 co-equal branches of government. They believe no one person should hold unchecked power because religious liberty and pluralism, not theocracy, not Christian nationalism, were foundational values. And because in the United States, the power still belongs to us. So I'll close with a quick story. Last week, my wife and I were up near Cherokee, North Carolina. Who's from Western North Carolina? Anybody come from Western North Carolina? What a beautiful part of our state. Still recovering from Helene, but as beautiful as I could have ever imagined, okay? And I wanted to cook shrimp and grits our last night there, and I forgot to bring some flour. So I took my measuring cup and I went to some nearby campsites. And I ended up meeting 3 different groups who I'd never met before. And each one of those sets of campers, those families, greeted me and welcomed me with warmth and kindness. And I found the flour that I needed for my recipe. But I was also reminded of something. And that is that this country is full of good people. Country is full of people just like you who care about the values of our nation. And so I want to thank you for being here. This rally, this march, this is what civic duty looks like. This is what love of country looks like. So I've already kind of told you my conclusion. I want to encourage you after today to not stop. Go tell your story. Find out the story of your neighbors. Meet your neighbors. Connect with them. Invite them to break bread together. Because we have so much more in common than we have that separate us as Americans. Go on TikTok, go on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Share your voice. Let's resist with media. Talk about what brought you here, what you're standing for, what kind of future you believe in. And if you want to use a hashtag, you can hashtag no kings, but who are we here, Charlotte? We're CLT, right? No Kings CLT, baby. Tag it. No Kings CLT. Tell your story. We are citizens of a multiracial, pluralistic, and democratic republic, and we must never forget that democracy isn't inherited, it's built together, and that's what we're doing today. So thank you for standing here with me. Let's keep resisting, let's keep building, and let's keep believing in the better future we know is possible, and we will build together.
All right, we're gonna keep it moving along. This guy's straw hat is about to melt right off his head. Next up, we have Jen Mangrum. She is the organizing director of North Carolina's American Federation of Teachers. She has more than 35 years in K-12 public school and university classrooms and is a champion for public education. Give her a round of applause, everybody. Look great. As you know, Project 2025 is alive and living through the Trump regime. This authoritarian has gone step by step, destroying our rights and our democracy. And in our public education realm, and his regime has done the following. They have censored critical discussions. They've whitewashed history. They've banned books. They've violated the civil rights of our students. He is dismantling the Department of Education and intentionally defunding public schools. I think I love y'all. And instead, he is budgeting billions of dollars for vouchers, which are welfare for the wealthy. His nasty budget bill rolls back a half-century effort to make educational opportunities consistent across our states. The Trump regime is purposely destroying public education so they can make money, they can force their ideology on what is taught and what is not taught, and they can decide who schools. They've created discriminatory laws that keep diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives out of our schools. They've even ignored a ruling by the North Carolina Supreme Court to immediately give our schools millions of dollars necessary to educate our children and follow the North Carolina Constitution. These Trumpian regime moves have caused a critical shortage of teachers, just as Trumpians planned it to do. If our fantastic, amazing educators leave teaching, families will leave schools too. I began teaching in 1987, and I can tell you that North Carolina was once a model for strong public education from our pre-K to our universities. Now even our universities are impacted. They're being forced to cut liberal arts programs. They must create and require history courses that tell both sides, whatever the heck that is. They're eliminating positions that help our most vulnerable students, and they're removing DEI words from our lectures and from our syllabi. We can't use the words gender, racial discrimination, or even the word women. As Kaya mentioned, I consider myself a champion for teachers, and it started at an early age. My mom was an amazing kindergarten teacher, and I looked up to her. One morning before middle school, my father yelled for me in the kitchen. I ran, and he started calling the paramedics. My mother was in the midst of a massive heart attack. My dad left with the paramedics and left me home alone. Not knowing what to do, I walked to school. And I did that because I knew my teachers would help me make sense of the chaos. And unfortunately, all of you educators out there do this kind of thing every day. Thank you. My mom died that morning. Without oversharing, if it hadn't been for the teachers in my life, I wouldn't be where I am today. right? My mom put her students' health before her own. You see, at their very core, that's who teachers are. That's who teacher assistants are. That's who school counselors and social workers and bus drivers and after-school caregivers, etc. Every single person who works in public schools does that. They are our heroes in our community, and because of my experience, I am compelled to help unionize teachers, empower them through the American Federation of Teachers. We cannot continue down this anti-public school path. But I'm not just against the regime, I'm also for things, right? Yeah. Public education, we want and deserve a great teacher in every classroom, in every school. We must pay our teachers at least the national average. We must pay our bus drivers, cafeteria workers, assistants, and
You have been watching live and earlier recorded speeches from the No Kings protest happening in Uptown Charlotte. As things wrap up there, top right of your screen, the event in Uptown officially over, but a number of people still peacefully protesting just outside of First Ward Park. We appreciate you watching here on this special edition of Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, covering the No Kings protests around Charlotte. Have a great day.